What if I told you that the biggest myth about stress is that it's all bad? I mean, think about it. Some of your best work probably happened when you were under pressure, when you needed to deliver that project on time, make that fantastic presentation, or build that high performing team. And in all of those cases, stress helped. It didn't hurt. So if stress is supposed to destroy performance, why does it sometimes help us create it? Today, we're talking about stress, when it helps, when it hurts, and what the warning signs are to make sure you don't burn out. First, let's start with the big myth about stress. We've almost been trained to think of stress as an enemy. Everyone's talking about living stress-free, but here's the problem. That's not how your brain works. Stress is one of your oldest survival mechanisms, in fact. Without it, we wouldn't focus. We wouldn't react quickly when we need to, and you probably wouldn't achieve very much. The real question isn't, am I stressed? It's, how am I experiencing this stress? And is it helping me or hurting me? The kind of stress that we're talking about that's positive is helping you when you're starting a new job, trying to learn something new, running an important workshop, giving that presentation. Your heart beats faster, you get laser focused, and those distractions aren't a part of your psyche at that moment. That's the kind of stress you want to have in your life because it helps you achieve your goals, be better at your job, and more practically, helps you be high performing, which is important in today's job market. The good stress can lead to amazing results. I ran an innovation jam at Shell. Actually, I ran two, and it was a small team. We were doing a global rollout of this idea, and it was going to happen over 3 days, 3 24-hour days. There was a lot of stress involved, but the team was committed. We understood what each of our roles were, and we know what the outcome was and how it was going to help the organization. That made us laser focused and in the groove. We were able to jam to music, but also understand it wasn't just fun, it was for real. It was for real serious. And while we were doing that, we really felt in the groove, which I'll talk more about in a minute. And that's why some people can get 3 days worth of work done in an afternoon. They figured out how to channel the best part of stress so that they can do more. And the key thing about doing more is knowing what to do, when to do it, and whether you're doing the right thing. I mean, really, it comes down to purpose driving momentum, which creates your focus and your determination to get the right outcome for whatever it is you're doing. But let's face it, stress can be toxic too, so let's talk about that for a minute. So let's talk about the flip side of that kind of stress. If we compare to a different project I worked on at the same company, we also had a small team, limited time, a big ask, and a lot to do. And in that team, we had a concept of going from the problem to the solution to the implementation of that solution. It was all worked out. But after we had put that information together and prepared for the workshop, something bad happened. People began to lack confidence, change the documentation, which completely disrupted all of the work we'd done. What happened? When we went into that workshop, we were not prepared, the documentation had been changed, and everyone could see something had gone wrong. The participants who hadn't seen our documentation yet clearly knew something was up. Things didn't go well. The presentation was faltering, and the outcomes weren't great because nothing felt predictable, nothing felt planned, and nothing felt presentation ready. That second guessing made a huge difference. That second guessing led to toxic stress, which led to a poor outcome, which led to the team going into the blame game. In fact, even worse than that, people lost sleep. And you know what's worse than losing sleep? Losing mental clarity. And that's exactly what happens when you don't get a chance to sleep, because your brain uses sleep to refresh itself. And if you're not refreshed, you're not thinking clearly, which is another part of how toxic stress begets more toxic stress. So, do you feel like you know yet the good from the bad stress? It's more than just outcomes, it's also how you feel inside, how you internalize that stress. So let's take a look at this chart and talk it through. On the left, we see good stress. It should come with a clear goal, purpose, a sense of control, support from your team, visible progress, and an endpoint. On the right, we have bad stress, which usually looks and feels like uncertainty, Poor communication, constant interruptions, no control, unclear expectations, and pressure that never stops, leading to failure. Notice something? It's not actually the work you have. It's the way the stress is being experienced by yourself and the team that make all the difference. So let's talk about the cure for stress, which is called flow. I come from Silicon Valley, and flow is a very valuable commodity. It's one of those things you can feel in the air. If you're in the flow, you're getting the job done. You have confidence about what you do, you have confidence in your team members, and you have confidence in the objective you're trying to meet. What does that mean? You're going to feel stress, but it's going to be the right kind. It's going to give you that emphasis to do more, reach higher, be high performing. So you don't feel stretched, you don't feel overwhelmed, and you don't feel like there's no way you can stay focused and there's no way you can feel in control of the situation. In fact, it's the opposite of that. You feel great. That stress is helping you to do even better than. This is when the team becomes more than the sum of their parts. So maybe you're not in flow yet and you want to get there. Well, let me give you my 5 tips to do just that. Number 1, separate the real problems from the imagined ones. And the best way to do this, in my experience, is to write things down. Make lists. Clarity can reduce anxiety, and that's what you're looking for when you make a list. And if you focus on what needs to get done right now for my team to be high performing and for us to reach our goal today, it can help clear away the cobwebs. Number 2, and I've talked about this already, protect your sleep. Your brain needs sleep to think clearly. And I can tell you, for a person who's had problems sleeping over the years and it's impacted some of my clarity at work, the thing your brain needs most is the thing that happens least when you're under stress. So make getting a good night's sleep job 1. Step number 3, watch out for the fake urgencies. You're going to get phone calls, emails, and text messages saying you need to drop everything you're doing and do this right now. That's somebody else's urgency. Be selective and make sure their crazy doesn't become your crazy. Step 4, build in recovery. You know, in project management speak, we talk about sprints often while we're dealing with agile. And sprints are good, but you know what? People can't live like that forever. We're not built that way. We're not built to be chased by the tiger every single day. So you need to build in some slack time, some downtime to refresh, regroup, rethink, so that people can be ready when the sprints do come. And finally, keep connecting on the purpose. You'll be achieving those high levels of performance, not being sucked into the vortex of that toxic stress situation we've been talking about. When people know work matters, pressure becomes easier to manage, and purpose changes how that stress we do feel feels. So here's the real truth. Stress isn't good. Stress isn't bad. Stress is a warning to you to make sure you stop, check in with yourself, check in with your team, and make sure you address toxic stress before it gets out of hand and before you start burning people out. And lean into the flow, that good feeling of I'm better than I thought I could be, and I'm moving forward in a way that's useful to myself, to my company, and to others around me. I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to know more about high-performing teams, check out this video. And I'll see you next time on ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Bye-bye, everybody.